lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Texas Motor Speedway, the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series is ready to get it on here in round number 2 of the playoffs here in the round of 12. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fort Worth, Texas, where after last night's exciting finish to the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series, we're looking forward to even more of the same as Bennett Allen leads the charge here deeper into the playoffs than as we go on through the 2023 season. Our defending champion leads Brandon Minto and Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north, in the top 3 leading into this race. I'm Dave Riegel here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have all of you with us again tonight, as always, as we appreciate you making us a part of your evening week after week. As folks, we've been together now if you're keeping track at home, for the last 28 weeks of the season. Of course, starting way back in February for the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300, where Aaron Mack brought home the checkered flag. And we have now arrived at an intersection in time where Nick Hansen, a non-playoff driver, brought home the checkered flag last week, of course, in our Xfinity race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Tonight, though, we head to the traditional mile and a half, the bread and butter of all that is NASCAR here in Fort Worth, qualifying underway. And we'll get right down to some of these drivers who are making their way around the track. Taking a look at the great one, Mike Wright from Greensboro, North Carolina. Mike dominated a lot of last season here in the Xfinity Series, and this year was no different, as he has rattled off quite a few wins this season. We'll take a look right there at his stats. Of course, he's got 4 wins to his credit on the season out of 28 weeks, so I mean, that's like one every 7 weeks. He's got to be out here hungry for another W. Mike McConville Jr. early on here, and, well, he's from Cape May, New Jersey, and that is an Eagles paint scheme. And quite frankly, Mike McConville Jr., you just made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. With the number 94 on the side of the car. Not sure who he thinks he is, but, well, we're going to talk some smack tonight, as his Philadelphia Eagles are playing on Monday Night Football live on ESPN with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman in the broadcast booth alongside the other Hall of Famer, Mr. Joe Buck. So, listen, I don't even, he really just took the wind out of my sails there. So we're going to go right here to our defending champion, Bennett Allen from Chattanooga, Tennessee. He's here in the number 15 JCTV Broadcasting B-Blaze Vintage Chevrolet Camaro. We're going to take a hop on down here, see if we can't ride along with him. He's going to kill that ignition and coast around a little bit. Ron Fitting here from Sumter, South Carolina. We see Tony Trapasso keeping an eye on us in the lower left-hand corner of our screen. As always, glad to have my partner with me here in the broadcast booth, whether he is in spirit or, of course, let's see here if we can fix where he is. Whether in spirit or physically, which of course he can't be here physically anymore. But we do love him. There he is. Matt White just went second fastest on the timings, on the timing tower. Stewartville, Minnesota's very own, just shuts the ignition off and coasts around the racetrack, as just 2 drivers have not gone out to log qualifying laps. Now, it looks like John Wilco went out. Of course, John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. He did go out for 2 laps, but it looks like neither of them counted, so not sure what he thought he was doing. Take a look at our race info for the evening. A comfortable 67 degrees in the stands tonight, and that's something that, of course, if you're from Texas, you know is way more than comfortable. But that outdoor ambient air temperature, 67 degrees, but the track temperature, 84. So track temperature definitely going to be a lot tighter than it was last night after we had started the race last night with 106 degrees, which there was a lot of bumping and sliding around. We're not going to have that tonight, as we're going to be a little bit shorter than we were last evening. 200 total scheduled laps tonight. Stage 1 going to end at 45 laps. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 90 with, of course, that 110 lap sprint to the finish. Drivers are going to have 6 total sets of tires with 5 changes. So we'll do a little bit of quick math here, just like we did last night. And it should be about the same pit window at about 35 laps. Now, that's going to change, of course, because when you're at 35 laps, you know that you can probably squeeze another 10 out of that rubber. as you boogie around this piece. Going to see if we can get a hold of Bennett Allen now. See if he is available as he brings us deeper into the playoffs. Of course, the great Bennett Allen, the 2022 MNN Xfinity Series champion, leads us in the points, and he leads us off tonight. Hey, Bennett, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
What's going on, Dave?
Well, another Monday night, and another Monday night where you and I get a little chance to chat here. How are you feeling coming into tonight's race, and of course, looking forward on the schedule? You know, as we're here in this round of the playoffs, what are you looking forward to tonight?
Just to finish the race. Want a decent points day. I don't like Texas, and it seems like everyone at Zeems didn't really spend much time on the setup. So we'll see what happens. But I'm more looking forward to next week, or not next week, the week after, which is Charlotte Roval. So we'll see how the road course treats us this year.
Yeah,
Last year.
I know that you are the road course whisperer here in the Xfinity Series. I was talking to several drivers last night who are completely underestimating RJ Root in the Cup Series. What's your strategy? Now, of course, next week you get the week off on Monday night, but what's going to be your strategy for practicing for the Roval in North Carolina?
Just try to find the absolute limit on the setup once they release it, and find the limit of the car, and then we'll see what happens. Last couple weeks, or these next 2 weeks in iRacing, aren't really ever fun when you race officials. So I don't know how much actual practice I'm going to get. I didn't get any this week. I have yet to find the motivation to do official racing recently. So, it is what it is. But I just want to get through the race tonight, and so I can go to sleep, really. Had an interesting day.
Fair enough. Listen, I totally understand, especially when you talk about, the public forums and the public races here in iRacing. I mean, as you mentioned, it's definitely not fun the next couple of weeks. So I totally understand that, which does limit your practice. But I know that you are a mad scientist when it comes to getting the road courses under your belt. So good luck tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway and in your continued defense here of the 2022 championship as you go for 2023 for back-to-back.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, sir, as we're going to run him back up in here to the Money House Racing chat. We're going to, Chris Claude's probably going to be making announcements soon. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mike Wright. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hello, Dave.
Hey, man, listen, another night where you sit on top of the timing line for qualifying. What are you thinking tonight as we get ready to boogie around Texas?
Keep the tires on it. This place is pretty slick, and it seemed like the temperature was going to be pretty decently high. So be sliding around a little bit, and you got to keep the right front for 1 and 2, and you got to keep the right rear for 3 and 4. So not really fond of Texas because of how they redid it all, but it's a different challenge and should be a fun race to try to keep both ends working.
Yeah, I mean, getting around Texas in the first place is already difficult, especially here in the Xfinity Series. Next week we have the off week. What are you thinking about as we get ready for the Roval? I mean, there you are, not in the playoffs for this season, but what are you thinking as we keep going, deeper and deeper through the schedule?
Yeah, I'm just showing up when it's a fun race, and if I can help him into it all, since he is running for the points. So this was a track we're kind of struggling with setup stuff, so we worked on that all week to try to help him out, and I thought I'd run the race to give him some feedback. But yeah, with just running kind of here or there, just going out and try to win some races.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the pole tonight. Maybe we'll see at the end of one of these stages, and if anything, good luck and have fun.
I always try to. Have fun on your end.
Always. Thank you, sir. And, of course, one more time here. Now we can get a hold of Mr. Chris Claude as he has completed his opening thoughts here. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I do, Dave.
Hey, man, listen, here we are, second round of the playoffs tonight. By the way, I did get that graphic problem there at the bottom third of the screen fixed. But here we are in the second race of this section of the playoffs. What are you thinking coming into tonight, where you sit right there on the edge?
Well, that's just it. And with the Roval coming up and it not being one of my stronger races, I'm going to need to make some hay if I can tonight on a track that I'm a little bit more comfortable on. So I think that main thing is to, if I can, try to pick up some stage points in both of the stages, and then hopefully I'll still have some left. It's not going to be as much strategy as there was in last night's race, because you should be able to make it on fuel for both of the stages, 45 and 90. So to really boil down to the third stage and pitting at the right time then, and I haven't really decided where I'm going to pit at the third stage yet, but it'll kind of depend on how what position that I'm in, and how much that how good I feel about the car, essentially.
Absolutely. I mean, last night was a really great Cup Series race. I mean, as always, we get excited here at Sim Racing Media when we get to call all three levels of the series. And, I'll tell you what, you've got quite an organization here that you work with and around every week. And to see these drivers week in and week out put the time in that they do, is impressive from up here in the broadcast booth. So kudos to you, sir, and a good luck, of course, as always. And like they say in the public forums, good luck and have fun.
Thank you, Dave. We do try to put in a lot of time. I know that there's a lot of guys that put in practice all throughout the week, numerous official races, so it's good that it's noticed.
All right, my man, listen, we will chat with you later as we're going to get ready for our grid section here. I don't think we're going to need all 2 laps, so you probably don't need to add one, just in case you were thinking about it.
No, I've actually stopped doing that. I think that what we'll do is on the driver introductions, just get through as many as you can, and when you see those lights coming off and it's getting close, and just leave yourself enough time to do the get up and go for the start of the race.
We do. All right, my friend, we'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Dave.
That, of course, the great Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer of all that is Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series Racing, Xfinity Series, here brought to you by the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Company. Of course, the brainchild and I'll tell you what, the passion of Tony Burt. And I miss seeing Tony here on a Monday night. I'll tell you what, Tony Burt takes care of everything that he does, and he knows exactly where that blessing comes from week in and week out. Speaking of blessings, we take a look here at Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma, fellow statesman of Troy Aikman. He's got that number 12 Miller Lite paint scheme going tonight. We know that he's usually sipping on a Miller Lite. Kavaja Holt in the 00 from Waynesboro. Ron Fitting in his Black Bullet Racing number 3 from Sumter, South Carolina. And folks, it is time, if you will, to grid up here as we're going to wait for everybody else. We'll take a quick peek here at our qualifying results. Mike Wright bringing home the pole award for the evening. Mike Wright going to be sitting on the pole tonight. He'll be joined on the outside of row number 1 with Matt White in the number 48 Chevrolet Camaro. Mike McConville Jr. out of Cape May, New Jersey in that Eagles paint scheme, going to be starting on the inside of row number 2, joined by 2022 M&N Xfinity Series champion Bennett Allen. Row number 3 going to be made up of Brandon Minto from Norman, Oklahoma, and the great Aaron Mack from Fort Riley, Kansas, winner at Daytona in the first race of the season. Nick Hansen and Ethan Ball going to be combined here in row number 4, while chief cook and bottle washer Chris Claude has that purple wrap on there for the playoffs here in the Xfinity Series. Pizza, Little Caesars paint scheme. Ron Fitting going to be starting on the outside of row number 5, while R.P. Allen sits on the inside of Alexander Gangler in the number 8 machine. My buddy Kavaja Holt going to be sitting alongside of Gabriel Lafreniere as Kavaja, for some reason, not get moving. Not sure what's going on there. Dan Morgan in the 72 going to be starting on the outside of row number 7. Rich Jett and Steve Herring in row number 8. Kavaja Holt dropping back to the 9th row alongside of McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own John Wilco, my fellow statesman, and Zach Vaughn rolling out shotgun on the field tonight in the number 91 1110 Mods Chevrolet Camaro. So 19 cars scheduled to make the start tonight, 200 laps scheduled as the distance. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 45. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 90. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, so that means we will be green flag racing momentarily here. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Mike has control of the field. Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in because we're green flag racing in Texas. Mike Wright leading the field through lap number 1, gets himself down the backstretch and already out to almost a half-second lead over Matt White. That's not going to make White very happy, as he was struggling to get up there as close to Mike Wright as he could and just could not leave it alone, as Mike Wright just laid down the fastest lap of the evening at 29.93 seconds. Early on here, as we had mentioned earlier, the track temperature was 86 degrees during qualifying. Let's take a look and see what it is now, 84, so it's cooled off even more. That puts a lot more grip there in the asphalt, so he's going to be not going to be slip sliding around like we saw last night in the Cup Series. Rich Jett starting to close in on the 8 of Alexander Gangler, who's getting ready. He's thinking about splitting Gabriel Lafreniere and Kavaja Holt, as Kavaja working the low side of Lafreniere. Kavaja all over the rear bumper of the Oxmoor 06 Chevrolet Camaro. He's looking for an opportunity, but Lafreniere manages to pull it. Now he's got about a 3/10 per second gap over top of Kavaja. Lafreniere starting to close in on Chris Claude, a pair of playoff drivers. We see a lot of purple bumpers and front splitters here. So a lot of your playoff drivers in this round all bunched up together, as Lafreniere is now looking to the outside of Chris as they come through the quad oval. And it looks like maybe Chris is going to start to defend that position a little bit, as he had talked about earlier. We heard him talk about it, we heard him think about it, and now it looks like he's ready to maybe put the thoughts together here, as Lafreniere still manages to get past Chris, but Chris not going to give up that easy, as we're still pretty early on here, as Chris Clark running in 11th position now. That's the battle. And all of a sudden, we have a 3-car tango here with Alexander Gangler defending 12th position just behind Chris Claude, as Rich Jett suddenly coming up on the low side of playoff driver Gangler. A pair of playoff drivers once again going at it, as Gangler in the Michigan Tech paint scheme just kind of lets Rich Jet go on by. He thinks, go ahead, buddy. Let that cook off for a little bit. Because maybe he knows something Rich doesn't. As right now we're working lap number 8 of 200. Mike Wright's still in control of this race. He's pretty much alone out there, an 0.8 of a second gap over Matt White. It goes Wright, White, Allen, Minto, McConville Jr., your top 5. And we see McConville Jr. here in that Philadelphia Eagles paint scheme. That mean green racing machine, if you will, on the challenges. He's down 2 spots where he qualified. Maybe that Eagles paint scheme just a little bit of bad luck for him as he's losing spots early on here. We see Bennett Allen in the JCTV Broadcasting Chevrolet Camaro. He's up 1 and perfectly happy running where he is, as he had talked earlier. He just wants to be able to bring the car home in one piece. And in the words of Desmond Llewellyn, of course, he played Q in the James Bond franchise of films, bring that car home in pristine order. 007. Pretty clean start to tonight's race. Dan Morgan working just behind Kavaja Holt. Just over 0.1 of a second. Now closing in, bringing John Wilco along as Wilco almost drafting up to the rear of the 10. Chris now sliding backwards. Definitely not happy with that setup, we can see already, as he is now starting to have to defend those positions that he's been in ever since the beginning of this race, as we're here on lap number 11. Speaking of the McConville's Philadelphia Eagles, they've got 13 seconds left in the first half, and they lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-3, with Joe Buck and the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman on the call. Can't say much about that, can you, McConville? No Hall of Fame Eagles. Sure can. Just saying. As Dan Morgan getting ready to work the underside of John Wilco. Wilco now getting a run on Chris Claude, as Chris Claude, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at Chris's paint scheme here. Now, of course, he is here in the Little Caesars paint scheme. Not sure what has him hooked on Little Caesars pizza the last few weeks, but it's almost like the old DEI paint scheme there with those racing stripes down the left rear quarter panel and just behind that front wheel. So kind of harkens back to the old DEI paint schemes that had those racing stripes down the quarter panels. Just a cool little look there, if you will. So we're going to go back here to the action. John Wilco now gets 13th position away from, he's going to do battle with Alexander there, side by side. Wilco holding on for dear life. A pair of playoff drivers yet again. That's 4 playoff drivers running around together. And that's kind of interesting to see all of them bunched up like that. As we're here, of course, in the second round of this round of 12 drivers. Nobody wants to get eliminated right now. Of course, to transfer, you've got to make it into the round of 8. So still 12 playoff drivers here in the opening round of 2023. A lot cleaner property management and maintenance Xfinity Series playoffs. But Bennett Allen leading the points. Whoa, Dan Morgan getting a run on Gangler. All of a sudden, Gangler almost seems to have had some kind of a mechanical issue, as Chris Claude now working the low side of him. Chris Claude getting the run on the exit of turn 4. Gangler now hemorrhaging spots. Of course, Gangler right now riding around in 10th position on our standings. He's got to have a really strong night here, as he is trailing just behind Steve Herring. So now Gangler, not the last driver from the playoffs out here on the track. Whoa! Chris Claw just getting sent up the racetrack. Let's see what happened there. We're going to watch Chris Claw maybe get it just a little tight here going into 1 and 2. It's almost like he just simply forgot to turn. That opens the door for Gangler to get underneath, but once again, Chris suddenly finding the speed on the high side on exit. So maybe Chris is on to something. Up here as suddenly we see Rich Jett getting ready to challenge our neighbor from the north, Gabriel Lafreniere. It seems like out of 19 drivers, all 12 of the playoff drivers have made it in tonight for this race, which of course leaves just 7 spots open to non-playoff drivers out of the 19. And speaking of 19 laps in the books so far tonight in the Monday Night NASCAR A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series from here at Texas Motor Speedway. Glad to have everybody in with us tonight. Make sure if you're watching us over on YouTube.com that you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on those bell notifications to Sim Racing Media so that you can be notified every time we go live. Of course, we're glad that you made us a part of your evening. Keep in mind that tomorrow night there will be no truck race as the truck series is off tomorrow night, but I do want to let everybody know that we appreciate all of the viewership that we have experienced all season long as it is just... You know, it's truly humbling to know that all of you are spending your Monday evenings with us here on SRM. From 6th through 11th, we have an interesting little line that is formed here. That's RP Allen, Aaron Mack, Gabriel Lafreniere, Rich Jett, Ethan Ball, and Nick Hansen all in a row. And then they've all gone single file. One person makes a mistake and it's all over for just under half of the field as Rich Jett in double natural slices right underneath Gabriel Lafreniere. Lafreniere is going to go side by side now as Jett has hold of that left rear quarter panel. Jett gets another run here underneath Lafreniere as he jets right underneath. As long as he can clear him on exit, he doesn't do it this time. He's going to have to fight him down the front stretch and into turn 1. We're going to see Jett once again throw it down into turn number 1. That's going to secure away 8th position from Gabriel Lafreniere, who now is going to trail Jett. But the question is, does Lafreniere see what Jett just did and try to capitalize on it and do the same thing? Yes, he does. Now he's going to look to get in there like an ice skate, and all of a sudden something's gone. Folks, you're going to have to stand by as all of a sudden the server is gone. Stand by, folks, as we're going to try to identify what's going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by as we are trying to identify what has just happened. It seems like there is a connection issue with the server from iRacing.com as we have lost all connection with it. So we're going to try to figure out what's going on here. Stay with us here on Sim Racing Media on YouTube.com. I'm Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and we'll be right back.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. As we do apologize for the technical difficulties. Several drivers, including your broadcaster, just got booted from the server. So obviously something going on at iRacing.com's main server in Boston, which is where, of course, we are being run out of. Rich Jet right now running in 7th position. On the lead lap after Mike McConville, Zach Vaughn, and Chris Claude all wound up down the pits, as Chris Claude still having some technical difficulties, it appears. Mike Wright, the race leader, he's followed by Matt White, as Mike Wright has now opened up a 3-second lead over White. As we've mentioned before, Mike Wright is an absolute wizard here on the iRacing.com servers, and quite frankly, tonight is no different than any other that we've seen him. These 1.5 miles are his bread and butter tracks as he boogies around Texas Motor Speedway, now with a 3.13 second lead over White. We see Chris Claude now down several laps. Try to get those back. It's going to be quite a struggle. It's needed a good performance tonight to keep it alive here in the playoffs, so unfortunately not able to do that. guess when timing and scoring says it's going to monitor the crashes, it doesn't think that it's going to monitor a server crash. That's for sure. As all in a row, it's going to be Rich Jett, Gabriel Lafreniere, Ethan Ball, Nick Hansen, John Wilco, and Dan Morgan, all in a pretty little chorus line as we're on lap number 37. We're in the closing laps here of stage number 1 at Texas Motor Speedway. Dave Riegel here in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth. As we see the first car laps down, going to be Mike McConville Jr. from Cape May, New Jersey. After having such a good run early on, qualifying on the inside of row number 2, McConville Jr. ran all the way back here into 16th position. That's a frustrating way to lose those spots, unfortunately. But you know what they say, it ain't easy being green. McConville's gonna regret ever changing this paint scheme, because I'm just gonna sit here and talk trash all night. Because what are you gonna do, Mike? You can't get me to talk to you, so I can pretty much take this microphone and do whatever I darn well please. As they're kind of doing that little serpentine thing like we see at Indianapolis sometimes, all of a sudden the 7 car of RP Allen being challenged now by the 77. Swapping around Aaron Mack in the 31 trying to hold off Rich Jett. In this battle for 6th position, they're all charging up behind RP Allen in the 7. All of a sudden, Gabriel Lafreniere stepping out of line, thinking he's got the run here to dive it in underneath Rich Jett on lap number 40 with just 5 laps to go here on stage number 1. Rich Jett closing in on Aaron Mack by just about 1/10 of a second, now less than 1/10 of a second, 500th of a second, as they haul it out of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Rich Jett getting a little bit of a run here, but Aaron Mack looking to challenge RP Allen for 5th position and those bonus points he's desperately going to call for to stay alive here in the playoffs, as he's going to get the run out of 4th, as the Liberty University number 7 Chevrolet Camaro is going to have to cede away 5th position now. As door handle to door handle, they go through turns 1 and 2. 5 to go in stage 1. Jett going to roll it out. He's got great rotation coming out of turn 2. He's going, whoa! Aaron Mack getting that rotation, but Jett trying to come along with him. RP Allen says, not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say on Saturday mornings. All of a sudden, Harbor Freight Tools looking pretty good over the DeWalt and the Craftsman and the Milwaukee there, and suddenly Harbor Freight leading the way. While they make contact, the 7 and the 06, and nearly a 3-car bottle up there with Rich Jett, as Rich almost split the 7 and the 06. Here on lap 43, 2 to go in stage 1. Now Rich Jett getting ready to exchange paint with Ethan Ball. As Ethan Ball trying to get around him. And Rich Jett going to be held up by RP Allen. They're going to have to work together to stay ahead of Ball. As Rich Jett going to have to struggle here on the high side now. Ethan Ball has control of the low side. RP Allen almost fender to fender with Rich Jett as we're here on lap number 44. Mike Wright now up to 3.3 seconds over Mike Wright. Alexander Gangler in the crosshairs. It looks like Gangler going to be able to hold on to that last spot here in the lead lap, but Mike Wright looking hungry to put somebody down a lap. That could really screw over McConville. And for McConville's sake, I hope not, because he'd like to get one of those laps back caused by the server error. But I don't know if Gangler's got it to hang on here at the end of 45, as Mike Wright looks just that much stronger than Alexander. Alexander rolling it through turn number 4. He's trying to hold off Mike Wright. And as they cross the start-finish line, Alexander Gangler scampers away. We're now waiting for RP Allen to cross the start-finish line. That will determine the end of stage number 1. Of course, as the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line, the caution flag flies. And Mike Wright, your stage 1 winner, followed by Matt White, Bennett Allen, Brandon Minto, Aaron Mack, Gabriel Lafreniere, Rich Jett, Ethan Ball, Nick Hansen, and RP Allen. Going to take a look here at Mike Wright, as I was just momentarily mesmerized by the Hall of Famer on television. Definitely not a Philadelphia Eagle, McConville. As we're going to try to get a hold of Mike Wright here. Hey Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave.
Hey man, listen, kind of a weird stage 1 here after all of those people throughput. Do you have any idea what might have happened with the server?
No, from my side, everything normal. It almost looked like people were leaving for an official session, as many people were getting out at one time. I got to wondering if maybe something was wrong with mine, but everything seemed pretty good. Tow said the same thing was happening on his screen, so it's one of those weird things happen sometimes.
It certainly does. Of course, that screwed a few of the people now running in the back of the pack. But here you are leading here, getting the green and white checkered flag. It seems like every time you're here at 1.5 miles, you suddenly put on a clinic of this is how you can get around here. I mean, you know, what is your secret with the 1.5 mile racetracks, Mike?
It's comfortable. I think most of the time end up with a pretty decent setup, and you can get a lot of rhythm to them. I feel like I can hit the same lap over and over, which is pretty nice. And that makes the difference on speed for the long run and with the tire wear. So one thing to note, track temp's getting a little bit warmer, so that right rear, it's probably going to be sliding a little bit more as the race goes. So everybody's going to have to stay on top of that.
Yeah, track temperature now up to 87. It was down as low as 84, but all of a sudden the sun came back out as we started under cloud cover, and now with that sun baking here on the asphalt, we're going to see some of these cars start to slide around.
Yeah, it could be worse. You know, real life, they were 120 something this weekend on the track temp. So I know most of the time ours is supposed to mimic the real life, but it says it's 67 air temp, so that's a little bit different than what they had this weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot more comfortable if you're in the bleachers today than if it was in real life over the weekend. But you know, here we are at Texas Motor Speedway. You've got your first stage win under your belt. We look forward to watching you the rest of the way. And listen, do me a favor when you get back there, after we put you back in your chat, let McConville know in race chat that I'm going to be ribbing him all night for the paint scheme he has decided to choose.
What is it? I'm not sure I caught that one.
Well, apparently
the
it ain't
Eagles?
easy being, it's an Eagles paint scheme.
It's the Eagles. Okay, yeah.
And it makes me reasonably nauseous, and quite frankly, there's a Hall of Famer in the broadcast booth tonight on Monday Night Football, and he's never worn green, but he definitely owned the Philadelphia Eagles during his career. Oh, look, there's another one I came up with.
There you go.
Long night for McConville.
Well, it was 3-3, I think, when I joined up to the session. So you have to give us a good update on the score.
Oh, I will absolutely do so when they come back from break.
All right.
As they are calling for you. So, Mike, thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side. We're going to head on back here as Mike is back in his chat. When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Mike Wright, Bennett Allen, Matt White, Brandon Minto, Aaron Mack, Rich Jett, Gabriel Lafreniere, Ethan Ball, Nick Hansen, and RP Allen, your top 10. course, as mentioned, I did want to give you a little score update here as the Philadelphia Eagles leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13-3 as they begin the third quarter. And it doesn't matter to me. I'm still going to give McConville a ration of poop because why not? The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means we'll be going back green flag racing here. And folks, we're going to treat you to a little turn it up time when we go back green flag racing. Is the pace car going to bring us down the backstretch? 15 cars on the lead lap when we go back green. As long as McConville keeps his nose clean, he can get those laps back. But right now, the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road. Mike Wright with control of the field lets the foot hover just above the loud pedal. He drops the hammer, and we're back green flag racing. Mike Wright still your race leader here at Texas Motor Speedway. 57 laps of 200 in the books. We're working our way toward lap number 90. here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by a lot cleaner property management and maintenance. Mike Wright, your race leader, followed by Brandon Minto. Bennett Allen challenging Minto now. As we're watching this battle just start to heat up between Allen and Minto, as the 2022 champion looks to the inside now of Minto on exit out of turn 2 as they haul it down the backstretch. We're going to see Allen take the high side now. Try to translate some of that as he's trying desperately to get right up there onto the bumper of Brandon Minto, maybe to try to take some of that air right off the spoiler of number 12. I do want to tell everybody that you should be checking out Upside, the app that Brandon Minto is sponsored by, as I've been saving a little bit of money here and there at the gas pumps. So check out the Upside app and use Brandon's code. I'm sure that if we hear from him later this evening, that he'll definitely give you that promo code. But right now, Bennett Allen all over Brandon Minto. All of a sudden, Allen deciding to take the high side and try to use some of that extra momentum that he's going to get there to swing himself closer to go side by side with Minto as they haul it off here into 1. Allen going to have to back off, so maybe he's got to go high in 3 and 4, low in 1 and 2 to use all of that racetrack. As we're going to see him do it again. He sets himself up here in 3. And he's just hanging on to the rear bumper of Brandon Minto as Mike Wright is just running away once again. As Mike Wright now opening up that lead to 1.6 seconds. We're going to go NASCAR side-by-side, or NASCAR non-stop here as we watch Ethan Ball chasing down RP Allen. I'm Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and this is Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing, brought to you by a lot cleaner property management.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway and the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Mike Wright, your race leader here on lap number 69 of 200 as we work our way toward lap number 90 and the conclusion thereof. Mike Wright leads Brandon Minto by about 2 seconds now, as Minto has been battling it out with Bennett Allen for about the last 10 laps, as the 2022 MNN Xfinity Series champion not ready to give it up tonight, as he is chasing Minto down. And I'll tell you what, it is an interesting Texas two-step they're trying to pull off here. Ron Fitting now going to be your lucky dog, as he is now down a lap, running in 14th position. Bennett Allen still trying to duke it out. They've got Matt White in tow, and Matt White just kind of hanging back, waiting for somebody to make a mistake. Fitting going to be your lucky dog. Mike McConville Jr. was kind of hoping for that not to happen, but Mike Wright just absolutely having himself a day, if you will. As once again, you know, this is a bread and butter track for Mike Wright. I mean, you know, first off, he has mastered our Xfinity Series here on Monday nights. And the 1.5 miles is just where he absolutely is in the kitchen. Checking in here on Monday Night Football with Joe Buck and the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. At last check, the Philadelphia Eagles were leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13-3. They are now up 20-3, so I guess maybe the more smack that I talk about the Eagles, the better they get, as I've been ribbing Mike McConville Jr. most of the evening. As Baker Mayfield, wow, just unhooks one and nearly picked off. Just about 4 yards from the end zone. And it is downright pouring in Tampa tonight. The LA Rams lead the Cincinnati Bengals 6-3 with 7:04 left in the second quarter. In that contest, as ESPN kind of doing something different now with their programming, as they've got some doubleheader Monday Night Football games. And you know, folks, something I've talked about more than once with more than one person for sure. You know, I remember back in the 90s and the 2000s, the early 2000s at least, where Monday Night Football meant something. And I realized that a lot of that has to do with the advent of Sunday Night Football. And don't get me wrong, NBC's coverage of the NFL is second to none. Between NBC and Fox, I don't know who is more exciting to watch. Feel how you will about Tirico instead of Al Michaels in the booth. Feel how you will about Chris Collinsworth and the slide. But overall, NBC does have great football coverage. Of course, ESPN obviously upping their game, bringing over Joe Buck and Troy Aikman from Fox last season, which, don't get me wrong, that makes this football fan very happy. But, it used to be one standalone game, and now we're doing doubleheaders on Monday night. You know, it used to be Monday Night Football, wing night at your local VFW or fire hall, and, 30-cent wings and $1.50 domestic drafts. And now it's just, another football game. It's almost like we've oversaturated our lives with American football. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But taking a look, this is your spoiler alert, folks, for baseball, if you're paying attention to what's possibly coming up in the playoffs. The New York Yankees beat the Arizona Diamondbacks in the Bronx 6-4, bringing their record to 79-77. So that was a makeup game for September 27th. But just a couple of games tonight as we've got mostly West Coast baseball. The Giants host the Padres at 9:45. Of course, Father Frank Marchese going to be working that for Padres Radio, one of our teammates here at Sim Racing Media. The Mariners host the Astros, and the Rangers go to visit the Angels, also at 9:40. So just about 20 minutes away from first pitch in those three baseball games. The NHL getting ready to be underway for the 2023 campaign as preseason hockey underway. In a split squad matchup, one split squad of the Devils beating the Flyers 4-0 with 5:47 left in the third. The other split squad of the Devils tied with the Canadiens with 7:22 left in the third, 1-1. Senators beating the Maple Leafs with 7:36 in the third. That's over on NHL Network. Jets beating the Oilers. Golden Knights all knotted up with the Avalanche. The Seattle Kraken. When it comes to sports team names, when it comes to franchise names, I think I really like the Kraken. They're in a split squad with the Calgary Flames tonight, but there's something about saying Kraken or the Seattle Crackheads. I don't know. I don't. I have no idea. Mike Wright still leading this piece with quite a gap over Brandon Minto, 3.12 seconds between himself and Minto. So that's going to continue to grow. With 10 laps left here in stage number 2, we're working lap 81 of 200. Gabriel Lafreniere still trying to chase down R.P. Allen. No caution for cause yet in tonight's race. I don't want to jinx it, but we have gone nearly half this race now without a wreck, which is something pretty impressive. All things considered, when you think about the way that some of these races have gone on the iRacing servers. As Ron Fitting, your lucky dog, the only car a lap down. Alexander Gangler, though, getting closer once again as Mike Wright just out here logging laps and getting it done, if you will. Of course, we did have that little technical difficulty earlier on this evening, which put drivers like Chris Claude, Mike McConville, Zach Vaughn, and Rich Jett down a couple of laps. Kavaja Holt deciding to put it on the hauler. So still 18 cars here on track tonight, with 13 of them being on the lead lap. So that's pretty impressive overall. 5 cars, a couple of laps down. And like I said, they're only down laps because of a technical difficulty with the iRacing.com server. So, nothing egregious, nothing wreck related, just server related, so to speak. Looking at the week ahead, Friday night, some college football, as many of those players, especially the freshmen, just coming into getting used to playing on Saturdays, they get to go under Friday night lights on FS1 at 9 p.m. as Oregon State hosts number 10 Utah in some Pac-12 action. The most overrated football team, in my opinion, Penn State, of course, 4-0 right now on the season, ranked number 6. They're going to visit Northwestern out in Illinois. At noon on Saturday, that's the big time on Fox. We've got Colorado hosting USC. Of course, we talk about the Colorado Buffaloes, but a year and a half ago, you didn't even know who the Colorado Buffaloes were until enter Primetime, Coach Prime, Neon Dion. The names go on. And believe me, he's obviously building himself an incredible program here. 3-1 on the season, beating number 17 TCU, beating Nebraska and Colorado State, but losing to number 10 Oregon. This week they go to. It's not like he built himself, Coach Prime, that is. It's not like he built himself a fluff schedule at all. I mean, he's playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ranked teams throughout the season. So that's more than, that is half of his season. at 12 weeks. Lap 87 now as Aaron Mack working the low side of Gabriel Lafreniere. Obviously, we're going to be talking some sports as things have gotten pretty calm out here on the racetrack, with the exception of this battle right now between Aaron Mack and Gabriel Lafreniere. Mack holding his ground on the low side. Lafreniere, wow, getting loose coming out of turn 2 down the backstretch. That opens the door for Mack to throw it into turn 3. He's going to be able to slide up in front of Lafreniere if he so chooses. He does not. They stay fender to fender on exit. As maybe Aaron just wants to keep things interesting here. Nearly making contact. That you can barely put a piece of paper between the 06s. Oh, the 06 getting all kinds of loose. He's going to be hemorrhaging spots. Oh, no, he spins out right in front of John Wilco, and we are staying green. There it is. There's the caution flag. Let's see just what happened to Gabriel Lafreniere. As we were just looking at him, and of course, maybe he got the broadcaster's Kavorka curse. Lafreniere, side by side with Aaron Mack, just gets himself loose. He tries to recover it. You can see it. And John Wilco just comes in to finish the job, clears him clean down the backstretch. And we are under caution for the first time tonight for cause, but technically it's barely for cause, considering that's going to conclude stage number 2. Mike Wright wins stage number 2. He is followed by Brandon Minto, Matt White, Bennett Allen, Ethan Ball, Nick Hansen, R.P. Allen, Aaron Mack, John Wilco, and Dan Morgan. Those drivers are going to be awarded playoff bonus points. We're going to see if we can get a hold of Mike Wright. And of course, we know we're going to. Because I'll tell you what, folks, out of all of the drivers that we have here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, you know, Mike Wright, one of those drivers that every time we click his name, he's here. Hey, Mike, you got me?
Still here. It's the football scores.
Well, the last I checked, it was 20-3 Eagles, which made me taste a little bit of vomit in my mouth.
They are playing the Bucs at Baker Mayfield, so.
Yeah, they're playing the Baker Mayfields. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But and it's also pouring like the Dickens down there in Tampa Bay.
Extra fun.
Yeah. If there's a place I would want to be, it's Raymond James Stadium in pouring down rain. Sounds like a plan to me.
You're in the wrong job.
But listen, another dominating performance here in stage 2. I mean, did you make any changes last time around or no?
I left it. It feels pretty good. We might pay for it in the long run maybe here, but we'll see what happens. Brandon had a good run there, so he's making his way to the front too. So,
well, you know, here's the thing. I mean, I've watched you go out here and just basically show everybody what they have to do. When you're another driver, and I mean, it's not often that I see you trailing anybody, but don't you think that at some point, especially being your teammate right behind you, wouldn't they want to try to take the Mike Wright line?
Am I doing something different than everybody else?
Somewhat.
It'd have to be in 1 and 2 because 3 and 4 is pretty straightforward.
3 and 4 is very straightforward. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I'm watching everybody try to battle it out, you know, it seems like, hey, maybe you should give up trying to fight each other and try to get their way up to you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like watching you out there logging laps, and to be fair, it gives me time to go check other scores. But I mean, for a lot of these drivers, I feel like when you're out on the racetrack, if the leader is building that kind of a lead, maybe you want to follow him a little closer, don't you think?
Yeah, I think there definitely are times, especially in these races that are full length, and even the normal official races that are still pretty decent length. You can pick the times you want to run hard, and if you can expect a long green flag run like we're going to have most likely, because that's what we've gotten so far, you can give up some time and just pace yourself, and it'll pay off in the long run. I think you saw that with Brandon and Matt that time around. I think Matt, from what Brandon was saying, he kind of gave up some time on the beginning of the run and try to make it up at the end. So with this being a pretty long run to finish, that's probably going to come into play. If you bet it going green, you're going to pace yourself because you're going to have to run it dry twice pretty much, and that's going to be a lot of time on the tires.
It is, and the other thing that I've noticed here is we've only had one caution that was technically for cause and really became the end of stage 2. I mean, these drivers behind you tonight, they're working their tails off to keep it clean. That's got to make you feel pretty good as the race leader that you don't have to continually get into restart mode.
It's always easier. Like I said earlier, if you could just get in the rhythm, it doesn't matter if you're first or fifth. If you could just get the rhythm going and just be consistent, it'll save your tires and then also keep your car clean, which is obviously the #1 goal for the whole race. So it'll be interesting here. You know, sometimes you get towards the end and people start getting frisky, so that can lead to some conflicts. You never know.
Well, it's going to be a long way to the end, just under 110 laps when we go back green. So good luck the rest of the way, buddy, and I'm sure we're going to see you on the podium, if not in victory lane, at the end of this piece.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
All right, my man, we're going to send him back up into the Furta Motorsports stable as Mike Wright going to lead us into stage number 3 from the point. When we go back green, it's going to be Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, Matt White, Bennett Allen, Ethan Ball, Nick Hansen, R.P. Allen, Aaron Mack, John Wilco, and Dan Morgan, your top 10. And pretty much the usual suspects here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. As we do get very used to seeing these drivers lead us around. And right now, the flag man may have the yellow in his hand, but he's going to be reaching down any moment now to switch that flag from yellow to green. Of course, he's just waiting for race control to give him the word. There it is. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. And once again, we're going to invite you folks to turn it up here on Sim Racing Media.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, where the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is working lap 108 of 200 here in stage number 3. Mike Wright, your race leader, opening up a 1.45 second lead over teammate Brandon Minto, who's been back here being harassed all night long by Bennett Allen, the 2022 M&N Xfinity Series champion. He, of course, leads us in the points tonight. And speaking of points, we do want to take a quick look here. Of course, now Hulu wants to refresh itself. As the Philadelphia Eagles leading, my goodness, leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 22-3. And still in the second quarter, the LA Rams leading the Cincinnati Bengals 6-3. So an interesting night, as it looks like the Eagles just went to 25-3. Of course, the camera's getting a shot right now of Jason Kelsey, who looks absolutely gassed on the sidelines. And, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't jump in on this too. I don't know how many of you in our YouTube.com live chat feel this way. But I'm about tired of hearing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, of course, the tight end for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And my late stepfather was a diehard Chiefs fan. Went long-suffering. I remember when the Chiefs got Priest Holmes as their running back, and he thought Priest Holmes was going to be the guy that brought them out of the doldrums. And, and I mean, that was just early on during his and my mom's relationship. And, so when I say long-suffering, I mean, he was a Chiefs fan his entire life. And that's just what I know of him. But, here's the thing. I don't care what celebrity is dating which celebrity. They don't care who we date. They don't care what we do in our free time. So why should we care about them and what they're doing? I mean, quite frankly, let them be. Just, if Taylor Swift wants to go watch your boyfriend or whatever they are play football, just let her go watch football. I mean, let her hang out next to Mama Kelsey and do whatever they do. That's fine. But quite frankly, I don't care. And I don't think anybody should care. Let them be. When Danica Patrick started dating Aaron Rodgers, it didn't affect me whatsoever. I still got up and went to work the next day. Still did my thing. It didn't change my outlook on life. It didn't make me suddenly think, oh my goodness, things are going to be so different. Let them be. When Carrie Underwood was dating Tony Romo, sure, he's a cowboy, but it didn't change the way I felt about the Cowboys. And it didn't bring that many more eyeballs to the TV. I mean, quite frankly, the Cowboys bring a ton of eyes to every game that they're in, no matter what the situation may be. And quite frankly, as the Super Bowl champions, it doesn't take much to get people excited about the Kansas City Chiefs in the first place. They're poised again this season to be, deep into the playoffs. That's what matters, not who the tight end is. One of the things that I've always liked about NASCAR is it's very family-oriented. But you don't see too much of the significant others of most NASCAR drivers, and a lot of them, their wives and girlfriends were or still actively are involved in racing somehow. Whether they were a PR person or even working in the front office at a race team, whatever the situation may or may not be, they are somehow able to live their lives like normal human beings. It's only in football, and basketball that we somehow know who these people are dating, who they're married to, so on and so forth. Hey, let them be. In baseball, we never knew who some baseball players were dating or seeing. Unless you were Derek Jeter and it was Madonna. But, there's nothing wrong with a little anonymity in life. It's like when you see a celebrity in real life and they're walking into, here on the East Coast, they walk into Wawa to get a cup of coffee and a tasty cake. Leave them get that cup of coffee and tasty cake. Get back out of the store. You don't have to bother them. They know they're famous. They don't need you to remind them when they're just trying to live their everyday lives. But as I was mentioning earlier, the Colorado Buffaloes, who, have used some star power to get themselves into the limelight. I mean, Neon Dion coaching the Colorado Buffaloes. It's exciting. Don't get me wrong. To see a team that basically has come out of nowhere going 3-1 and 7th in the Pac-12. That's exciting. Really, it's more like the Pac-47 right now. It's exciting. Don't get me wrong. But, in fact, let's just take a look at this. But I mean, in the Pac-12 to be 3-1. Sorry about that little technical difficulty here on the broadcast. And once again, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube.com, let us know what lap it says that we're on. Alex there in race control, I know that you may be watching the broadcast. I'm getting conflicting messages here that we're not showing live on YouTube.com. As we got those technical difficulties squared away, thank you, Dcash Videos. But, you know, to be in the Pac-12, first of all, that's one of the prestigious, you know, power conferences. And obviously to come out of the middle of nowhere and do as well as they've done, it's exciting. It's something to behold. But, you know, do they make the college football playoff? No, they don't. You're Colorado. You're going to be Colorado. You're unranked. You know, but you get to host number 8 USC, so you get to make your mark. I mean, right now, the Georgia Bulldogs being ranked number 1, that's interesting to me. You know, as we go through the rankings here, and I'm just trying to find those, the college football rankings always seem to be a little bit convoluted to me because it's done by poll. You know, Nick Saban is going to be Nick Saban no matter what season it is. He's still going to do his mad scientist routine. Whoa, the 96 getting right underneath RP Allen. That's Ethan Ball challenging RP. Ball now backing off of RP Allen. But, you know, having a poll determine, you know, what you should be, or the coaches poll, the AP, you know, Georgia being number 1, cool, that's the AP top 25. There shouldn't be a difference between, you know, in the AP, Texas is ranked number 3. But by the coaches poll, Texas is ranked number 5. We go all the way down here to Alabama, who's ranked number 12 by the AP, but number 11 by the coaches poll. That's ridiculous. Alabama will always be Alabama. Penn State does not belong ranked above Alabama. Florida State, same way. You know, sure, you can be, you know, 4-0, like most of these teams are, all the way through 10th, which is Utah. But, you know, I just think that maybe they're overselling themselves a little bit. You know, the top 25, all the way down to Fresno State, why are we even ranking them? Assign their bowls, get this out of the way, take the top 4, put them in the playoff, call it a day. I wish that there was a way that we could fix college football where we could have these teams on a fixed 12-game schedule, but it's just not possible. And at the end, whoa! RP Allen getting loose as a goose coming out of turn 2. That opens the door for Ball to run underneath him and take the spot away. Ethan Ball now taking away 4th position. As RP Allen battling back now, Nick Hansen just behind. He was kind of hoping that RP had made a big enough mistake. But with just about 70 to go, we're going to start to see some of these cars have to come in for a splash of fuel and for Mr. Feelgoods on these machines. And you know, while we're on sports, as we run some more clean laps here at Texas Motor Speedway with Mike Wright, your race leader, he's now out to a 3.8 second lead over teammate Brandon Minto. Bennett Allen running in 3rd position, Ethan Ball in 4th, RP Allen in 5th, Nick Hansen in 6th, Matt White in 7th, Aaron Mack, John Wilco, and Dan Morgan rounding out your top 10. You know, Mike Wright, once again, just getting it done as he does every week here on the iRacing.com servers. I mean, I can't say enough about this. But, you know, since everything seems a little calm here, let's talk about soap operas. Number one, you watch a soap opera, and it's the same story every week. I don't follow basketball that closely. I know the popular people and the good players of basketball because I know their names, or because they draw enough attention from the media. I can't say the print media because print media, of course, is a dying trade here. But I know who Damian Lillard is. I know who Giannis Antetokounmpo is, and I can pronounce Antetokounmpo. Why? Because the NBA makes sure that they talk about the players. It's a very player-centric league. Don't get me wrong, the NBA is exciting to watch. I do enjoy watching basketball games. I don't have to get myself fully invested until the playoffs because they talk about it from start to finish of the season. No matter what network I'm watching, whether it's Fox Sports 1 and watching Uncle Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports Radio. Oh, here goes RP. He goes down to the infield. He brings it back up just in time to haul it into turn 3. He's now 3 wide with the 99 of Nick Hansen and the 48 of Matt White. RP trying to hold it together is now starting to fall like a rocket. Maybe time for some fresh Mr. Feelgoods on the number 7 Liberty University Chevrolet Camaro. But, I know who Adrian Wojnarowski is, and I really shouldn't have to know. But, just as somebody who is a passerby, I hear just enough about the NBA to get me into trouble, at the local watering hole. As we get ready to go into the NBA season, of course, in a couple of weeks, October 5th, everything tips off there as the Mavericks visit the Timberwolves. So that's going to be next week. It's, this is about to be one of the most magical times of the sports year with, the NFL, the NFL's regular season, Major League Baseball's playoffs getting ready to roll, the NCAA dominating Friday and Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the NBA coming back, the NHL coming back, soccer. It's just, I can't get enough. If you watch ESPN, you could basically be like a drug user right now. And it looks like the 99 of Nick Hansen going to go down here to the low side. He's going to squeeze in between Aaron Mack and RP Allen. The Eagles now leading. The Buccaneers 25-11 at Raymond James Stadium. They're all tied up at 6 in halftime over in Cincinnati. And folks, maybe I don't plug this enough, and I feel like I should, but get yourself Hulu. What a great way to stream your sports, as even now I can check out the San Francisco Giants. My goodness. This Meadows just laid it all out, running in from left center field. Looks like Manny Machado getting himself on base again. Anybody see these mittens that baseball players are wearing? I gotta tell you, I'm not really a fan of the mittens. Side by side goes Aaron Mack with Nick Hansen, and now Aaron Mack will be chasing down RP Allen. We've kept it right here on these three, but we want to check in with our race leader, Mike Wright, as we've got 60 laps to go. This time by Brandon Minto running in second position, and Bennett Allen, the 2022 M&N Xfinity Series champion. He knows how to get it done. He knows that this is the last night that he can really, screw around is, of course, he is the road course whisperer. We're going to see that in a couple of weeks at the Charlotte Roval. John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. He's currently running in 9th position, up 9 from where he began. And, you know, here's the thing with John Wilco, and I say this, and maybe I'm a little bit biased, and quite frankly, I don't care. But, you know, the thing with John Wilco is he keeps himself conservative all night long. You know, you don't hear a whole lot from him. He's just out here logging his laps, getting his job done. And he's quietly climbed up into the top 10 after starting in 18th. And don't get me wrong, we had a few drivers, you know, drop out due to connection issues. But John Wilco managing to very quietly crack into the top 10. And we've seen him in the Truck Series as well, suddenly get on the podium, and you think, oh my goodness, where did John Wilco come from? Well, he came from McAdoo, in a town there in the coal regions up here in Pennsylvania. I want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening. Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Of course, we lost the great one, Tony Trapasso, back on September 5th of this year. And we miss you, buddy. So we just watched Mike McConville blow the doors off of Wilco. And McConville last coming down pit road at 89. As we take a look at the pit strategy of the top 5, everybody coming in at the same time together. So not a whole lot of variation in the top 5. To be completely honest, we've only had one caution for cause, and it just so happened to be the caution at the end of stage number 2. So really just 2 cautions to speak of. One at the end of stage 1, one at the end of stage 2 that just happened to be the cause. But a very clean night from these Xfinity drivers. As Ron Fitting looks in the rearview mirror, he can start to see Mike Wright creeping in on him, and it may either be time. Wow, Mike Wright getting around Ron Fitting. As Fitting gets himself set up early, 3, 2, and there's 1 to get onto pit road. As we're going to start to see several of these drivers coming down pit road for 4 tires and a tank of fuel. And I've got to believe that a lot of these drivers are going to have some melted rubber on the bottom of these cars. .147 laps of 200 in the books tonight. Green flag pit stops underway as Dan Morgan, Ron Fitting, Zach Vaughn, and now Bennett Allen coming down pit road. As he's going to be the first to blink, we're going to start to see some of that pit strategy graph change ever so gently. Now Mike Wright coming down pit road, as well as Brandon Minto. The Ferta drivers on their way down through. That's going to cycle Matt White up to the race lead with Aaron Mack in tow. 2.8 seconds separating those 2 drivers as Mike Wright and Brandon Minto come down with Ethan Ball. McAdoo, Pennsylvania's John Wilco also staying out at the moment. The thing is, now is the time where you're starting to sit there and maybe second guess yourself. Did I come down too early? Did I come down too late? You know, if Wilco comes down the same lap as Mike Wright, does he cycle himself onto the podium, or does he wind up having to battle? And now Wilco comes down. So just 2 drivers remaining from the top 5. as Matt White and Aaron Mack are going to battle it out up here. Dan Morgan driving past Matt White. I've got to believe that we're going to suddenly see him haul it down pit road. There he is, coming in hot. Oh, he's going to get a speeding penalty out of that. Very close for Aaron Mack as well as Mike Wright. Going to cycle back to your race lead. We see him coming down the backstretch. Let's watch as White and Mack about to see their lead evaporate in the blink of an eye. White still getting pit service as Wright passes him. And now White has to get off a pit road, spin him, get moving. As green flag pit stops are now complete. We'll take one more look here. Looks like Mike Wright goes in and out, not losing any positions this time around. And we can see that gap about to start growing once again. So 152 laps in the books. We're going to step aside one more time here and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening in the YouTube.com live chat. Hope you've enjoyed what we've talked about this evening as Mike Wright continues to run his race the way he wants to. Right here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, live on Sim Racing Media.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Back here live at Texas Motor Speedway, Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We're working lap 160 of 200, so 40 to go now. As Mike Wright continues to be the Pied Piper of Fort Worth with now a 7.5 second lead over Brandon Minto. The longer this race goes, the longer that gap gets between Wright and Minto, as he is just out here showing us what he's made of, as Greenville, North Carolina's very own is running the mile-and-a-half show clinic. John Wilco, the last car on the lead lap, and quite frankly, it's starting to get to the point where he can see Mike Wright in the rearview mirror, and that's got to be awful daunting. As Dan Morgan right now would be the lucky dog, just down one lap. Taking a peek back inside Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing host to the Philadelphia Eagles, and trailing 25-11, coming out of the 2-minute warning. Looks like the Eagles are going to keep the ball on the ground and try to start managing that clock, as the Bucs pretty much know they're down by 14 and they may not have a chance, but you're only down by 14. Crazier things have happened in the NFL, but it looks like they're going to let the clock melt here on 3rd and 6. The Philadelphia Eagles had 464 total yards tonight with a 37-minute 2-second time of possession. So obviously they have figured out how to control the ball at the line of scrimmage. They run the ball one more time. And that carry was from Gainwell, who gains pretty well, getting to the 4th down, with now 1.5 minutes left. There should be about 30 seconds here if they're going to try for the field goal to add salt to the wound. Looks like they do have 4th and 2, so they're going to try to go for it just for so, as the Eagles looking to improve to 3-0 on the season and take sole possession of first place in the NFC East. And with that connection from Jalen Hurts, number 11 Brown, that will salt away the win. 25 seconds left on the clock, and the Philadelphia Eagles going to improve to 3-0 after A.J. Brown has 9 receptions for 131 yards tonight. So, my goodness. We'll look here at the standings in the National Football League. Of course, early on now, 3 weeks in the books, the Miami Dolphins, after laying down a 70-burger yesterday, are 3-0 in the AFC East. That's something, you know, okay, let's quick break that one down as we're working lap 167 of 200. You know, the Miami Dolphins 3-0. We don't hear that very often. And of course, the only thing that we hear when somebody's undefeated is the 72 Dolphins, the 72 Dolphins. Hey, the Miami Dolphins, whoa. It happened again. Where'd everybody go? It looks like Mike Wright just lost his connection. There he is. just a momentary lapse in time. Ethan Ball running in 5th position right now. As we'll bounce around the screen, speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, Mike McConville Jr. must be pretty happy, whether I was talking trash or not earlier in the night. But the Miami Dolphins 3-0 on top of the AFC East, trailing by the Bills. They're 2-1, of course, still predicted to go deep into the playoffs this year. The New England Patriots are starting the season 1-2, and that's something that we don't say very often, especially because they're tied at the bottom of the AFC East with the New York Jets. Pittsburgh Steelers lead the AFC North. The AFC South controlled by the Colts, and the Chiefs lead the AFC West with a 2-1 record. Now here's where things get interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles just improved to 3-0. That gives them sole possession and control of the NFC East ahead of the Dallas Cowboys, who are 2-1. New York Giants, of course, being mildly anemic in the basement of that division. But the Niners, so right now in the NFC, that leaves the Niners and the Eagles undefeated. In the AFC, the only team undefeated is the Dolphins. Then we look at, of course, the standings in Major League Baseball's wild card. The Philadelphia Phillies basically, their magic number is down to 1. So 1 win and they secure their spot in the 2023 NL playoffs. And they would be representing the first of the wild card seeds. In fact, let's see if we can find where the playoffs would be. Lightning fast internet, you say, Xfinity. Of course, maybe right now the MLB app, or I'm sorry, the MLB website, just a little wild right now. But right now, your division leaders in Major League Baseball, the Baltimore Orioles, are salting away their season ahead of the Tampa Bay Rays. They're at 97-59. Right now, clinching their division is the Minnesota Twins. The AL West still wide open, as the Rangers and the Astros are locked in a dead heat, with the Seattle Mariners still, sniffing around there. The NL East, of course, clinched by Chris Claude's Atlanta Braves, followed by the Philadelphia Phillies, who lead the wild card. The Braves, the only team to crack the century mark in wins this season, at 100 wins, 56 losses on the year. So they could still go 6 more losses and finish 162. The LA Dodgers secure the NL West title, and the Milwaukee Brewers, securing their playoff berth. Just not sure whether or not they're going to be passed by the Cubbies or wind up securing the Central. It sure would be nice if the Phillies could secure that final win to salt away the #1 wild card seed and maybe open up the playoffs at home as we head into the hunt for Red October here in Philadelphia. Less than 25 to go now, working lap 177 of 200 at Texas Motor Speedway. You're watching the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance, as Mike Wright passes Mike McConville Jr. He's drivers coming last in at 148, so they must have all been just about on dust in the fuel cell, so they should be able to make the distance now. As we have only had one caution for cause that wound up actually being the end of stage number 2. This has been an incredible race so far, as we've moved along pretty well as we're here on 178. And I was correct, RP Allen did get tagged for speeding on pit road, so that's why he is currently a lap down. 2 laps down, actually, running in 13th. Bennett Allen working just over top of Matt White as he's looking for some kind of edge here to get onto the podium. Matt White currently has 3rd position. Bennett Allen sniffing the rear bumper and that exhaust decal of the 48. He looks like he can get the run on him. Trying to secure his transfer spot into the round of 8. And looking ahead here with 20 to go. We'll look ahead here in our schedule. Next week, of course, as I mentioned a couple of times, we'll be off. Sunday night, someone else will be sitting in my seat for the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, brought to you by Stacey Strong. But then the week after next, on October 9th, right here on Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action on Sim Racing Media, will be the Drive for the Cure 250 presented by BCBS North Carolina at Charlotte Motor Speedway's Roval. And, you know, the Roval is kind of an interesting concept that they introduced at Charlotte. First of all, I love some oval racing, not roval racing, and certainly not road racing. But they've really done it the right way at Charlotte, where they've used just enough of the oval track with some little hiccups in the middle that it makes for really exciting racing, and we're going to get to see some of that in 2 weeks. Right here on Sim Racing Media, going to be 67 laps. Of course, once again at 8:20 p.m. we go live. As now Bennett Allen chasing down Zach Vaughn, trying to get around him. Now tomorrow night, of course, no Truck Series race in the Jack Dow Simulators and Esports iRacing.com Truck Series, as the trucks are off. I'm sorry, it's showing, yeah, we're off tomorrow night. Then next week, on Tuesday night, the trucks will be at Talladega Super Speedway for the Love's RV Stop 250. Of course, for some reason, the Xfinity Series doesn't go there, not sure why. The Stacey Strong Cup Series, of course, on Sunday night goes to Talladega Super Speedway. And then to the Roval before their round of 8 begins at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So it looks like everybody going to be restarting their round of 8 at Las Vegas. The Xfinity Series going to start the round of 8 at Las Vegas. And the Truck Series, I'm trying to click as fast as possible. Actually, they're in their round of 8, and they will not be at Las Vegas, but they will be at Homestead, Miami, which we will get to watch together, as that weekend, a group of us from Sim Racing Media have been blessed enough to be able to head on down to Homestead, Miami for that race weekend. So we'll be watching the doubleheader on Saturday for the Xfinity and Truck Series, and of course Sunday for the Cup Series, and of course I'm excited about getting to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. in person for the first time in my life, and obviously more than likely the last time in my life. And you know what? That'll be just fine for me. The Los Angeles Rams pull ahead of the Bengals once again, 9-6 in a battle of the feet in football. Joe Burrow failing to get the Bengals a touchdown yet. 14 to go now as we see Chris Claude laps down, of course affected by that technical glitch from iRacing.com. He really wanted to have a good run tonight, but not able to get her done as the Little Caesars Pizza Toyota Supra, one of just 2 Toyotas in the field tonight. And, you know, and I talk about this all the time. This league is very Chevy heavy. You know, we see right here Matt White driving his Chevrolet. He's chasing down Zach Vaughn in another Chevrolet. Just 4 blue oval Ford Mustangs in the field tonight and 2 Toyotas. So that's 6. That leaves 13 Chevrolets in the field. I've never seen this many Chevys in one place aside from being at, Bergey's Chevrolet here in Norristown, Pennsylvania. Matt White kind of looking like he's off pace a little bit. Not sure where that's coming from. And with 11 laps to go, one last time, we're going to pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
Imagine a theater experience so real, you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Five laps to go here for Mike Wright to bring it the rest of the way home as he sees nothing but victory lane ahead of him as Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Matt White on the podium right now as we stand, and Matt White all by his lonesome out here with 3.75 seconds back to Bennett Allen. So it looks like you can finally throw a blanket over these leaders as everybody has made their mind up for this evening, as the battle raged on early, but obviously now has calmed itself down to the point where we're at 4 to go. R.P. Allen just behind Mike Wright. At this point, nobody wants to see that caution flag come out. R.P. Allen with another connection issue, as we've been fighting technical battles and connection issues all night long. Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Matt White. Of course, Mike Wright getting ready to notch win number 5 for the season on his belt. He comes out of turn number 4. The popsicle sticks are in the air, and we are 2 to go. Mike Wright, who is the mile-and-a-half Speedway whisperer here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. He is always out here getting it done. The popsicle sticks go down. We are racing back to checkers. The white flag waves, and here we go. Mike Wright through 1 and 2 manages to get it done. Nice and easy. He's not going to come off of that line that he's been running all night long. We can see him coming down the backstretch into turn number 3. He's going to bring it home nice and gentle. And as he crosses out of here, the checker flag goes in the air, and Mike Wright, your Texas winner, here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. Brandon Minto crossing the start-finish line, and Matt White wrapping up our podium for the evening. Bennett Allen crossing in 4th, Ethan Ball in 5th, Nick Hansen in 6th, and Aaron Mack bringing up the rear of the lead lap cars, just 7 of them coming home in 7th position.
Hey, Dave. Good. It's been a while since we ended up on a setup that was just make sure you drive it consistent and you'll be okay, and Minto showed that too. And I think back, I've had a few Kansas setups where I've been able to run the bottom and just kind of click off laps, and no matter what anybody else did, it didn't matter. So didn't feel that way on Monday or Tuesday of this past week running my first official race. It was a bit off and very tight, so we were able to load the right rear up a little bit more. So it ended up good, obviously.
Yeah, obviously would be an understatement for sure, as you got the number 98 Fresh Market Ford Mustang across the start-finish line after leading pretty much the entire race with the exception of when you had to come down and cede the lead away.
I didn't want to take the chance of messing up pit road entry and being out of fuel, so I pitted a lap or two early to have that little extra. So gave up the full 200 by a lap or two probably, but that's all right.
Yeah, I feel like you were just fine for the evening. You know, RP Allen, the only driver tonight to get tagged for speeding on pit road. But, I mean, how hard is it to come from, you know, race speed down onto pit road and be able to just orchestrate that perfectly with your crew?
I mean, it's tough on different tracks. You know, there's certain ones that are a little bit harder than others. One thing I noticed, and I'm not sure why, but usually I can get in the car and I can go up or down on the brake bias 3 turns. And when I got in the car for the race tonight, I could only go down 6. I couldn't go up any. And that meant I had a lot of rear brake into it, which is great for making lap time. But when you come to slam it to pit road, I've had it come around a few times. So I had to play it extra safe for that. And as long as you're aware of what the car's going to feel like, you know, it's always helpful to make 1 or 2 runs there in the practice right before the race starts. And even on my qualifying laps, I usually take the checkered and then I come around and do a pit entry just to keep it fresh because obviously you can give up a lot of time and throw the race away pretty easily that way.
Yeah, and you know, we got through this race pretty quick tonight. Just one caution for cause that wound up being the end of stage 2 anyway. You know, you guys here in the Xfinity Series have this knack for just getting it done safely. How do you credit the rest of the league for driving the way that they do? I mean, even, you know, as close as some of the battles behind you were, you know, how do you credit the rest of these drivers for being the way that they are safety-wise?
You know, I bet, you know, everybody puts in time and they're either making their own laps with testing or they're going to do some other league races or they'll do officials. And obviously the more laps you get, the more comfortable you are in what you have, and the likelihood you have a self spin is going to go down. And I think by the time you get through this part of the year, obviously you're pretty aware of everybody around you and you know how they like to race, you know how you like to make passes, and so everybody tends to give enough room to where even when you're having good racing, like it, you know, Minto and Allen, they were having some good racing, and Minto was like, I hope he's watching our battle because it's pretty good. But they're respectful of each other. So I mean, as long as you realize the limits of your own car and take care of your car, you're going to take care of some other people too, and that's how you get the good racing, green flag runs.
Absolutely. Well, listen, before we cut you loose tonight and get ready for our off week next week, as the Xfinity cars, for whatever reason, don't go to Talladega, who do you need to tip your helmet to tonight for this run? I feel like it is kind of weird. Why wouldn't we run at Talladega?
I don't know. Maybe Junior got enough of the owners together to go to NASCAR and say we don't need to tear up half the field again. Who knows?
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I could be on board with that. I could understand that, especially with them adding 2 Atlantas like they have. So maybe they were like, you know what, enough's enough. Let's take a break.
Makes sense.
It is a little odd. It is a little odd. But yeah, we'll take the off break there. I probably won't run the Roval just because it's just awful. Road courses are fun, but Roval is not very fun. So I'll probably duck in for the truck race and be a drafting partner to Minto. So we'll get a little Talladega going. So thanks for doing your job, and of course for everybody that's putting it on with Chris to set the league up and make the races to pop in and out of and have some fun. And Brandon, I mean, like I said, Monday or Tuesday I was about ready to shut down the old sim for the week, not making any Texas runs because the setup, we were struggling with it, and then we got something going, and we ran a couple good races at the end of the week, and I was like, all right, well, we got something for tonight.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. We'll see you maybe next week in the truck series, and have a good night. Go ahead and celebrate with Brandon and everybody else on your team.
That's all right. Go O's.
Here we go. I'm not even going to go there.
You want to.
Yeah, you're right. The battle, we want the 95 battle once again.
Hey, I would not be upset about it. That'd be fun. My uncle's a Phillies fan, so.
That's fair. At least he's got some class then.
Well, somebody's got to be the outcast in the family.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good one.
That, of course, your race winner, Mr. Mike Wright. But next here on the podium, out of Norman, Oklahoma, Brandon Minto. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave. You got me?
Got you, Dave.
Hey, man, listen, good run tonight. I mean, you had a really good battle going on with Bennett for quite a while, but obviously Bennett couldn't hold off Matt White any longer. Congrats on P2, but how did you get yourself into this position?
Once again, I've been talking about it for a while. I just run a lot of these B opens, just trying to figure out what the car has, and I came to realize that the right rear is almost like the most important tire here. Just being able to get that drive off of turn 2 and being able to get the drive off of turn 4 as well. And then just getting those runs, just learning how to save that right tire is what I feel like saved me tonight. Because me and Bennett, like you're saying, we had a lot of good racing going on throughout the entire race. But after about 20, 25 laps, I don't know if he was burning his right rear or if his setup just didn't have anything long run wise in it. And that's just how I was able to start pulling away and picking off one by one. I think I started like 6th today, or 5th or 6th. So just trying to jump cars one by one until I was finally able to get into a position where I knew, okay, cool, I have the better long run speed. I just do not want to give up this inside line. So Bennett kept trying to peek to the inside of me a few times, but I'm like, sorry, Bennett, you ain't getting underneath me, because I know I have the longer run speed compared to him. And then it was just going to be another fight if he were to get by me.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're going head to head with, the reigning champion, sometimes, the knuckles get a little bit whiter on the old steering wheel there, where you got to tighten the gloves up a little bit more. But, you were able to hold him off and get that second place finish. What are you looking forward to? Of course, next week, the off week, as we skip Talladega for reasons that Mike Wright and I just can't figure out quite much. But what are you thinking as we get ready to go Roval racing in 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's upsetting that we're not doing Dega this season, but or in the playoffs. I love these restrictor plate tracks, and I have a blast at those. Like, luckily the trucks are going there, so I'll be able to race in the truck series on Tuesday night, and hopefully I do well then. But for the Roval, that's a whole nother battle that I'm not very good at. So I'm glad I was able to get a good points night. I think I'm pretty safe in the playoff standings right now. So that really helps that I had a great run tonight. I got a lot of points, and then I don't really have to worry about the Roval, but I'm going to try to put in as much practice as I can get, learn all the braking points, all these little chicanes they got on that back stretch, learn the braking points for everything, or learn everything about those, so that way I don't miss my braking point and plow into somebody's butt going into the chicane. That would be pretty embarrassing, but I'm not looking forward to the Roval.
No, the combination there is not only do you want to get the right braking point, but you don't want to accidentally money shift yourself into a spin and wind up screwed, so to speak. But listen, in 2 weeks we go to the Roval, but congratulations on tonight. Who do you need to tip your helmet to for this run tonight?
Once again, I always got to give a shout out to my parents. They tune in every single week. I want to give a shout out to my Uncle Scott, tuning in, Miller Lite drinking out there up in Michigan.
Good old Uncle Scott.
That's right, my Uncle Scott. Shout out to my brother, his wife Anna, and then my little nephews, Winnie and Vinny. They like to go ahead and watch the replays of these races. I know they enjoy hearing their names said on the TV. They get a little excited. I thank Miller Lite for keeping me busy after I finally was able to pull away from Bennett. I had a little time to start drinking, so I drank quite a few Miller Lites during this race. Want to give a shout out to you. Put on a great broadcast. Go ahead and rewatch this broadcast. Show it off to my friends and everything. And then once again, Chris, for putting on this awesome league. I enjoy running here every single week. And then definitely a big shout out to Mike Wright. Dude just puts on a clinic every single week. He shows up, and someday, hopefully, like, he's giving me some pointers and everything. I'm trying to take them into account, but the way he drives, it's crazy. Like, hopefully someday I'll learn it, and then I'll be able to get like a 10-second lap or 10-second lead on P2. But yeah, that's pretty much everybody.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the podium finish tonight. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the Roval, and have a good night. Go ahead and celebrate with your teammate.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Dave.
All right, man. That, of course, the great Brandon Minto from Ferda Motorsports. And last but certainly not least here on our interview list, Mr. Matt White, driver of the number 48 Chevrolet Camaro from Stewartville, Minnesota. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, happy there. How you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing good, but you must be doing even better as you managed to bring home the podium finish after battling it out with Bennett Allen. I mean, if you're going to be fighting, you might as well be fighting the reigning champion of the series.
Yeah, it was, a good race there. I mean, Mike, unloaded like freight train there, and I made a couple mistakes there, halfway through that race, and had to fight back through a lot of the field. Glad to get a top three.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, you weren't one of the drivers or myself who were affected by whatever that internet outage was earlier on in the evening. But, you managed to make the battle and get it done right because, a lot of it all has to do with that money stop at the very end of the race. Take us through the kind of the mindset and the thought process you had when it was time for that money stop at the end.
Yeah, well, so because I lost control there on that restart, my goal was just to go as far as possible to get as much tire advantage that I could. I never had anything from Mike no matter what, but just to try to, make up ground on the other end of the run to maximize there. That was mainly it, and just, come in smooth, 4 tires, fuel, 2 adjustments, and off we go.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you have to know is that you don't have enough to get up there to the race leader, especially when he's putting on a clinic for the mile and a half. But, and being in that mindset keeps you to be a little bit more conservative and saves your stuff for the very end.
Yeah, just to put me on a better setup, long run than, even Minto there up until, the last bit, but just trying to maximize my maximum forward progress on the other end where no one could really see it coming.
Absolutely. Well, listen, before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to tip your helmet to and thank for this third place run?
I just want to, go and thank myself, MW Designs. I'm on the car now full time. So I just, do good stuff. I want to thank you guys, SRM, for hosting this, and you to step in, with Tony Petrasso on Sunday nights. I didn't get to interview last week, but, it was a great loss that we suffered, so just want to out to those guys. And then obviously Chris and Race Control here at M&N and Sunday Night NASCAR, putting on a show for us every week so we can at least come and do this and have fun with it.
Absolutely. Having fun is the key, and that's what Tony Trapasso would have wanted, as I do sit here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and, I miss my buddy, but I know that he's still riding along with us, so we thank you for that, and congratulations on the third place win. We'll see you in a couple of weeks over at the Charlotte Roval.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, I think. I kind of get my road racing chops out, so it'll be good to see what we can do.
All right, my man. Congratulations. We'll talk to you later.
You too.
Well, folks, another one in the books here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series as we hang up our headphones for the evening. It has been quite an exciting night as Mike Wright manages to put another clinic on here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And one final look at our results here. Mike Wright brings home the checkered flag and is joined on the podium by his teammate Brandon Minto, and third place on the podium, Matt White, as we just got done hearing from him and his kind words about our friend Tony Trapasso. Bennett Allen brings home fourth, and Ethan Ball rounds out your top 5. Nick Hansen finishes in 6th with Aaron Mack and John Wilco in 7th and 8th. Dan Morgan, folks, and Steve Herring round out your top 10, while Ron Fitting comes home in 11th with R.P. Allen in 12th. Alexander Gangler brings the 8 car home in 13th, while Mike McConville and his number 94 Eagles paint scheme comes home in 14th. Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer of the SNN Cup Series, finishes in 15th, while Zach Vaughn gains just 3 positions after 193 laps, has to put it on the hauler, and finishing 16th. Rich Jett, after being affected earlier in the race, finishes the double natural in 17th, with our neighbor from the north also affected by that service outage, finishing in 18th, while Kavaja Holt finishes last, but certainly not least in our hearts here at SRM in 19th. So, folks, another exciting night of racing here in the SNN Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. And I want to thank all of you for making us a part of your evening every week, because, you know, without you folks at home, we'd have nobody to entertain and talk with week in and week out as we've gone deep into the season now. And, of course, as I want to mention, the Truck Series is off tomorrow night, as they do not run here at Texas. And next week, the Xfinity Series off, as the Xfinity Series does not run at Talladega. Sunday night, however, you'll be able to tune in at 7:30 Eastern Time for, I'm not sure who it's going to be in the broadcast booth, alongside Matt Metler, bringing you all of the action for the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, brought to you by Stacy Strong, right here on Sim Racing Media. And for everybody here at Sim Racing Media, once again, thank you for making us a part of your evening. And tomorrow, as you go through your day, remember that you're special. You're the only one like you, and that's fine by me. Good night, everybody.